since all of you are now in the process of seeking your own internship or job already, we thought it was nice to bring you the experiences of these former IB students. They will tell us a bit how their job-seeking process was and what they've learned in the time they've been in the job market and working already. So should we start with a round of presentation? Just tell us a bit about what you're doing nowadays, where you, how you enter the program, where from, what background studies, how was your first steps into the professional world?
Should I start?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Clara.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Clara. My background studies before this master's were in East Asian studies, specifically Chinese language, so very niche. Then when I graduated, I felt like it was really tough to find the kind of job that I wanted, because I knew that I wanted a sort of businessy corporate job with the studies that I had, so I felt like I needed to specialize more, and that's how I ended up applying to this master's. And I am currently in the partnerships department at Shiji Group, which is a hospitality tech company.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Langston.
Yes, hello, my name is Langston. I'm originally from the United States, Texas, to be exact. Undergrad studies, I did economics at the University of North Texas, or I studied there, then studied abroad my senior year in Spain and Barcelona to, learn Spanish. Came here, fell in love with the city, so then I came back for the master's after hearing some of my colleagues have great experiences at the school, found the BSM, applied to international business, and I currently work as a research analyst at Reynolds.
Thank you. Kenneth.
Hello everyone, I'm Kenneth. I'm from Italy and I did my bachelor's in economics as well. And then I was looking for something, for some experience abroad, let's say outside of Italy. That's why I was looking for a Master in International Business. And then I ended up here in UPF. It was a great year, actually. And then, now I'm currently working in Pharma. It's a pharmaceutical company, a Danish company, as an order and distribution specialist. And then I will talk about maybe a little bit more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone also, my name is Gonzalo, I'm from Ushuaia, Argentina. I have a business management degree. I choose the program because I always want to study abroad, something related with business. Now I'm working as sales director in Dulce de Leche Mardel, that is a local company, but sells product typical from Argentina also. I don't know what else. We can.
So, yeah,
we're going to talk a lot about the process, so. We can
should we start with how was the process of seeking a job right after the masters? The process they are right into. How hard was it to secure a job? What traits of your profile do you think made the deal where you're now or where you got to just after the masters? If you want to start, just pop in anytime. Just let's make it a conversation.
Okay, then I'll go. For me personally, it was pretty challenging in a way. I had no previous internship experience, job experience at all, because during my bachelor's degree, the internship program was not mandatory. And I felt like those credits I could put to use more effectively, for example, in a study abroad program. So that's what I did. And then when I got to the master's, it was my first time ever having to go through interviews, having to prepare properly my CV, my LinkedIn. So in that way, I felt like it was pretty challenging to first get past the initial screenings of your CV, etc. When even if you know that you have the skills, that you're learning, that you have really nothing relevant to show. So the way that I kind of got around that was, for example, through above where the experience section should be, I put my master's thesis as a project and explained a little bit how I was applying the knowledge from this master's, and that kind of got me around it a little bit, and I feel like it worked. I ended up not applying to that much stuff, actually. I was counting it when I was doing my report back, my internship report back in December, and I ended up applying to like 30 jobs, which is not that much compared to the advice other people give you sometimes. So I think it's very person to person. In terms of skills that I think helped me, I think it's mostly when you actually do get to the interview to show that you have willingness to learn, willingness to be taught, that you have just general person skills that you, because at the end of the day, any entry-level job or internship, which is what I assume most of you are looking for, can be taught, and what they want is somebody who you can teach things to. And in terms of more like actual skills that I had, I felt like a lot of what helped me were the fact that, first of all, I am local, so I speak Catalan and Spanish. I am fluent in English, so I had the opportunity to apply for international companies as well. As I mentioned, I studied Mandarin during my degree as well, and I have a reasonably high level, so I felt like this set me apart and made me different in terms of when hiring managers were looking at my profile.
Thank you. Langston, if you want to have a go.
I feel like I had a bit of an atypical kind of internship process. So I, as an American citizen, didn't have the visa. So I was really restricted to just, and not speaking Spanish, so really just super restrictive to like just US-based companies, super international companies working in the US market or the UK market. So I got lucky to find my company where I started as an intern, but it was very difficult. I got lucky because another one of my classmates applied there and knew that I didn't know this company at all. So, I mean, she applied there and knew that it was an American-based company and super international and that they were looking for interns. And so then I applied, went through that process, and then luckily they were able to grant me a visa since that was another like key requirement for me. And so, because I knew I wanted to stay here long term. And so that was just very tough. And I knew I could stay with the internship agreement legally in the country, but then knowing that afterwards it would be, you know, did I want to go back to the job hunt, or did I want to, you know, just stay in this company and then just get the visa? So I think mine was a bit more difficult than most. I'm not sure if you had a similar, being Argentinian.
Similar, very similar.
Yeah, but it was very difficult. So a lot of just the basic companies were just off the table for me just at the start. So then I really had to specialize and really dig for my searches.
So they are arranging for visa and for all the
I have enough.
issues.
Yeah.
Kenneth, how was your process?
Different from both of them, actually. I applied to much more than 30 companies, but I didn't have the problem of the visa, so it's a different one. But yeah, I'm working in supply chain, and I had short experience in supply chain and also in finance. And now that I'm working in this company, I'm looking at both of them. Like mainly is supply chain based, let's say, but I have some few finance tasks. But yeah, I would say that it's not more about at least for me, it was not more about the skills that I had at the moment, but more about how I was able to sell those skills. Let's say when you're going to an interview, then even if you feel that you have not enough skills to apply to that job, just apply and then try to sell yourself as better as you can. And then it's more about the confidence you have in the interview. And then for me, at least, it was more about practicing during the interview. So I was applying to much more than 30 companies, also because I wanted to be kind of prepared to the right ones. That was
great.
Your experience. Well, for me it was a little bit different because I do the master with 5 years of work experience in Argentina. And at the very beginning, I don't have the working visa also. So I started applying for internships too, but it was a little bit hard because of the experience. kind related of Clara was saying before. But at the end, I found an internship in Weekend Desk, that is a travel agency, and was an interesting experience because I had to manage the ego because I have my bosses at the time have less experience than I, so I have to start all over again. So it was interesting, and also trying to get the positive things of the experience too. And from skills, I think that networking is key all over the process here. The experience in Barcelona was key with jobs colleagues, the university colleagues to keep in touch. Also, it's important to manage the no's. It's very hard, that part, but think with all the interviews that you're going to do, that the other person had to take or hire a person with 1 hour of an interview, and there is a lot of things that are involved in the interview process. I know that it's hard, but it's also not personal.
Are you hiring nowadays yourself?
I just hired two last month.
Have you had the experience of being the interviewer, I guess?
Yes.
So what is it?
It's also hard for the interviewer because it's about feeling. It's about trying to understand if the other person can be involved in your team, also to get well and to perform. That is important in every company.
If you can tell us a bit about your job nowadays, what type of decisions you need to take, what was useful from what you learned in the masters, what you put into practice from whatever you learned in the master, hopefully a lot. How does it come into play now that you're working in your position?
For me personally, my job is, my title is Global Partnerships Coordinator, so it's very like a jack of all trades job. I'm doing everything, like from getting our partners on our website to getting them to like marketing related stuff, preparing LinkedIn posts with them, press releases, to like getting NDAs signed and working with the legal team to make the changes that the partner wants. So for me, like the fact that this master's was also a little bit of everything, like a little bit of marketing, a little bit of market research, a little bit of contracts and things like that as well, really helped me in like my current job with my current responsibilities. I don't know how else like to explain it, but especially the contracts, I didn't expect to be using this kind of knowledge so often.
And in my personal experience, I think the soft skills were what helped me the most in this job, like the teamwork, the interpersonal relationships, the communication skills, sending emails, sending passive-aggressive emails, like just getting things done. And just time management. I think those are the most important things that I have taken from the masters and used in my job, because obviously they teach you what the way the company wants to do it, but like all the small things, getting along with people, just working as a group is very important. And I think those were some of the biggest skills that I've taken from the masters, being super international, languages, social things like that, just being in a big international setting.
Yeah, for me.
First term, time management, eh?
Yeah.
Culture and organization.
No, for me the same, like collaboration and communication are for sure important. And going back to the previous question, in the CV I was putting like this master has a focus in supply chain and import-export. I don't remember now the name of the courses. Like to put some focus on the position where I was applying. But then I ended up understanding that actually the most important or the most useful for me is negotiation, because I'm working on projects basically, and a lot of departments are involved, different people, ages, backgrounds. So negotiation for me is the best.
They're nowadays taking it with Eduard, right?
Yeah.
It's still the role play and yes.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, what I take from the master that I'm using nowadays a lot is more the 360 view of all the departments that are involved in business. Very helpful. Also the cases. So you see and read from real cases that are related of the daily problems that you have in every company. For example, last month I was involved in all the restructuration of the commercial department. So it's hard. It's hard because you're talking about people also, business and people. So I apply a lot of the 360 view in my day-to-day, and I'm working in a family-owned business that is more or less 25 million net worth last year. I have a team of 16 people. What else I can tell? And my role is to lead the strategy of the company in the local market and overseas. We have sales in 30 countries, different countries. We have a wholesaler in the US, here in Europe, and also, for example, in Australia. I don't know, 30 countries.
Amazing. If you can tell us a bit more about what you do in your job.
Yes, so the position is order and distribution. It's part of the global logistic and supply chain affiliate for the company. What I'm doing is basically from the production side, I'm looking to the whole process from the production side to the final customer, basically. So what I'm actually doing, besides the operational part that I was doing in the beginning, I'm analyzing the gaps during the process. So from the production side to the warehouse that we have here outside of Barcelona, and from the warehouse to the final customer. And then once we find these gaps, we trying to implement a solution. So that's why a lot of people are always involved. And we develop projects, and I just get out of 3 months, very stressful, because we have two main channels for Spain and Portugal, for Iberia. We sell directly to hospitals and wholesalers. So for the wholesalers, of course, it's like they have a big percentage of our products. Let's say we have like a big share. But then there was probably the part which has much more problems comparison to the other side of the channel. So it was something that they wanted to do like for a couple of years, but they didn't have either the people nor the investments to find the solutions, and now we're getting out with the
How big a team of people are you in your?
In my department, we are in Spain. We are 8, but then there is a big office in Poland where they basically manage all the other countries. From Spain, we manage Spain and Portugal, and then from Poland they manage Asia, like US, South America, and other countries. And then in Denmark is the headquarters, but that is not operationally, just pure management.
It is a very international team you're
Very
in, these 8
international.
people,
Yeah.
very international.
Yeah,
so
we have a Brazilian person, a local person, me is an Italian, and last year we had a person from Mexico. So we are very international.
I was going to ask how your adaptation to the Spanish culture or business culture was, but I gather it's very international in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I mainly speak Spanish like during the day, unless I'm working with some in some projects. Then I speak English with my colleagues in Poland. But that's it.
Langston, do you want to tell us a bit more about your job in market research?
Yeah, so
What do you do? What sort of projects? What sort of industries do you work with?
So the company as a whole, they work through every big industry, big sector, but I'm on the healthcare team. So we work a lot with like Pharma, AstraZeneca, Novartis, so these big pharma biotech brands. And my job is to really just understand the market and where the holes might be. And so it being an executive search, we just employ people at the senior vice president level and above, a lot at the C-suite. And so it's for us, it's just my job mainly is to just go and find who are the best people in the market at these companies in these niche medical fields, so be it. And then just try to plug and play to see who would be the best person to, I guess, increase shareholder value for the C-suite.
How many people are you in your team?
Here in Barcelona, we're about 30 people, analysts just serving every market in EMEA and APAC.
And also very international.
Very international, yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Any anecdote related to working with an international team? I don't know, adaptation, cultural differences in work.
Ooh. Yes.
I guess we experience it also in the masters, but in work, I guess.
I would say it's very similar to the masters. Everyone is super international. We mostly speak English in the office, but you'll hear a bunch of different languages. It's just different work culture styles. So not really in the office itself, but working with the different teams. Like the German team, it's very different than the UK team, than the Polish team. So it's a very just adapting to people's and work culture as a whole, and just being very flexible.
It segments. Then you have the UK team, and then they work their
It's
way.
the UK team, and then mainland Europe. It's very different.
Interesting. What about you, Clara? In your daily work, what's your experience?
Should I explain a bit more? What
Sure,
I do?
sure.
Yeah.
Please.
So you understand the company that I work in is a hospitality tech company. So we have a bunch of products that hotels, restaurants, etc. can use to make their daily operations more efficient. And of course, hotels have a bunch of products to help them do a bunch of different things. And these products have to integrate with our products, right? So that's where we come in. So what we do as a department is to kind of do both the operational and also do the strategic analysis of whether or not an integration and a further, maybe more strategic partnership with a partner makes sense, which is very interesting and very challenging as well, because a lot of these times these companies are potential competitors or have another product that can compete with a different product that we have. So this is very interesting. The team that I'm in is very small for a very big company. It's just me, my manager, and his manager. But it's a very big company with offices in APAC, in the Americas, and in Europe. So sometimes it is a bit challenging in terms of cultural adaptation. I'm working with people from all around the world, everywhere. My manager is Dutch, so his communication style is very different to mine, for example. The other member of my team is based in Portugal, but he's South African, so also a completely different way of communicating. I'm constantly in contact with the marketing in APAC team, which works very differently to the technical German team, right? So it's a lot of balance, knowing who you're talking to, knowing when you have to pull your manager into the conversation so that they listen to you more, or when it's not necessary. But I would say overall, it's very similar to the other examples where the main language that we use in the office and for everything is English, unless I'm working with somebody that's also based in Barcelona. And nowadays, I'm using Mandarin more and more because the company is originally Chinese, so sometimes there's crossovers with the China team. But yeah.
So it's on. It's not on.
Bueno, no pasa nada.
Martí.
Okay, so these three companies that were describing, Shiji,
Reynolds, and Pharma, they are hiring these days. So just for them to listen, would you recommend joining a graduate program, a training program? We know that our students are already ready to get a full-time job, but we know how difficult it is to make a career in Barcelona. So from your point of view, your perspective, after taking an internship, would you recommend to go for it or to go for a full-time job?
I personally recommend going internship then full-time job, and not because you don't want the full-time job, but the company wants you to be an intern before they offer you the full-time job in most cases. They want to see that you can do the job, perform the job, that you're worth the investment, since at least here in Barcelona, everyone wants to be here. It's a very competitive job market that I've seen. So in my experience, they pretty much want you to be an intern first before offering you the full-time, and knowing that it's just easier for the company as well for tax reasons, I think, I don't know. But it's very, they're incentivized to have more interns than full-time jobs, especially at the startup level.
Yeah. Now, I have a question actually, because how many of you maybe want to live here for long term? And how many of you are fluent in Spanish? Or you're studying Spanish at least? Okay.
They're in class, so.
No, but that's fine. But because, for example, in my position, I speak also English, but I speak mainly Spanish. So that's kind of like a filter. And I noticed that because we also hired a person this year. I was involved in the process, not hiring. I was helping my manager, let's say, in the last interview. And basically, at the end, if you speak also Spanish, in my experience, it's easier. So that's my suggestion for you. But then, yeah, I would recommend absolutely to work in Pharma. It's kind of a very nice environment, very young as well, super international. But yeah, maybe Spanish, it's a better requirement, at least for Pharma in Spain, because it's the office is focused on the Spanish market and Portuguese market. So the global I'm in a global position, but in Spain. And all the other global positions are either in Denmark, in Poland, or other parts of something.
So you are the lucky one, no?
Yeah, it's kind of a lucky combination.
Global role from here is what everybody is looking for these days.
It's cool. Nah, I cannot complain.
Yeah, but there are also exceptions, sorry. I used to work in a Catalan company also that is a vegan food company that is called Heura Foods, and the communication was 100% in English, and it's a local company also. Okay. So I think that nowadays more and more the communication will be turned into English because of globalization.
And Gonzalo, what can you tell us about Heura Foods? Used to be a startup, then they became a scale-up, now they are a monster, no, of an alternative way of food, and they had their great moment. What did you learn in a fast-paced environment, no?
Well, that was a very interesting experience also in Heura. Because of the vegan category here in Spain, that is nowadays it's hard to fight for the meat industry companies, and it's more how can I put it? In the northern of Europe, vegan has a more weight in the regular or daily diet of people. Here in Spain, it's not there yet. So it was interesting because of the process of the company. The company has to invest a lot of money to make the vegan category growth, and they obviously lose money and work with investment. But also was an interesting position because of trying to live the experience of a startup. So I recommend everyone, if you want to know and to do and to learn from all the departments of the company to work in a startup environment.
In fact, it's the very first year that they turned positive.
I just read today
Yeah.
that this year they are even.
But they had to de-globalize. They had to reduce the number of markets.
Yes,
to
yes,
get
yes.
to
When
this.
I left the company was about 2 years ago. The Spanish market, that is the biggest in the company, was given to another company that has relationship with retailers and different wholesalers. So that's weird for a company to do that, not to keep with the biggest market, but was part of the process.
And what can you tell us about working on food and beverages? It's a really specific industry, really important in Spain. Is it interesting these days? Do you see potential opportunities for our talent?
Yeah, for sure. There are huge companies involved in the market, like Danone, Procter & Gamble. Different. It depends on the category. But it's a different kind of sales. It's a more quicker sale. It's not that services or B2B environment that for me is boring. But I learned that during my experience in B2B, in trade marketing consulting. Also, I work in Allianz in the insurance, and that's not the place for me. I like more the real-time sales and month-to-month dynamic, but it's huge. You can learn a lot that you can apply for all the companies, the process, the structures of the departments. So it's a big academy if you want to have experience there.
Keeping it in terms of sales, that some of our students are interested in that, how would you describe the start of a career in sales in Spain?
In Spain.
Do you have to do phone calls? Do you have to go to the market? How any of you would describe the opportunities? Because these days a lot of opportunities are relating to technology applied to services with sales roles. What would you say?
Me?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. For me, here in Spain, I had to start all over. So I go back to the internship role. At that level, I have to upload hotel photos, so to cover everything. It was a role in sales. But for every place, I try to learn something, to learn about a process that I can apply, or that I apply in other roles. It depends, because different departments apply to sales. So I started in Argentina in trade marketing, that it was focusing in sales. Here, my first experience was that in that travel agency, then insurance, and it's a different kind of sales because it's a long-term sales. You are not selling healthy seguros. I love the insurance daily. So it's a long process from sales. It depends the companies, depends what your interests are. But it's entertainment.
What was the question again?
We pointing to sales roles and being engaged in sales activities in Spain. Would you say it's a great opportunity to start?
I mean, I never work in sales, so I don't know in that sense. I know that there are a lot of opportunities, like when I was looking at the LinkedIn and all these pages, like there are a ton of them. Yes. It's probably I don't know if it's the easiest way to get into a company, to get a job into a company, but for sure you have a lot of more opportunities rather than, I don't know, supply chain in pharma industry. That's a bit more complicated, I guess, because it's also more regulated, the industry. So that's my experience.
Was it what you were looking for, though?
When I was applying to pharma industry, like supply chain for sure, but in pharma industry, luxury industry, and food industry as well. Food industry more for personal interest, and then pharma and luxury because in the long term in general, you get, of course it depends on a lot of things, but in general you get higher salaries.
So if anyone is not that well defined into sales or supply chain or market research, how would you advise them to approach the job hunt? How can they have a, or choose or have an experience that will somehow guide their career?
For me, was I started in a beer company, and my first position was in a training program. So you cover different departments. I have a 6 months experience in supply chain, 6 month experience in sales, in marketing, and in finance also 6 months. And then I choose to keep in trade marketing sales, but that's a good way to cover all different departments and to understand what are you looking for.
I think for me, because as I mentioned, I had no previous experience, and a lot of the times I had no idea what the job titles meant, so I couldn't really understand the responsibilities. What helped me to think about was, who am I when I'm doing a group project? Am I the project manager? Am I the person that's making everyone, meet the deadline, or am I the person that's helping the Canva look consistent? You have to think about what your skills inherently are. You have to think about something that you are comfortable doing and that you will be, I don't want to say like the typical do something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. This is not true, but you have to find something that you are comfortable doing 40 hours a week. So think about your strength, but also think about what you like, because you might be good at something that you do not like doing. So a good way to find it is, again, who are you when you're doing a group project?
Right. Thinking about skills that they can put forward, what do you look for if you're interviewing? What do you think they should tell in an interview? What skills do you think are selling well?
Again, I don't want to repeat myself, but what I was doing in the interviews was trying to sell as best as I could. My skills, like even if I had, like, I don't know, 5 of the 10 requirements that was in the job post, then I was applying anyways, and then try to get maybe real examples, because real examples gives you the opportunity to explain details, and then the person who is hiring knows that you are not like repeating a script that you studied at home, but you have real experience in that example because you know the details. So that's maybe something that I would prepare before an interview.
Yeah. And in my personal experience, I think the most important thing is when you go into an interview or when you're conducting an interview is to sell yourself as a person and be personable. The resume matters a lot less than the cultural fit, I feel like, in a lot of companies, because a lot of people will have your same background or skill set, especially at the entry level since everyone's entering. So you don't really have that like key distinction outside of that isn't super competitive already. So being able to like sell yourself as a personable person, being someone they want to hire, getting along with for 40 hours a week, someone who's able to communicate effectively and just do these things. So just being a people person, I think, helps a lot.
I would like to listen from Langston. How was the recruitment process in Russell Reynolds? I know how it is, but can you share with us how many interviews, group dynamics, games or not?
Yeah. And so there was two paths. I took the internship path, which was a bit easier, but you sacrifice a lot more, let me say. So the internship path was pretty much, it was 3 rounds of interviews. It was the just entry level to choose. She's the first level hiring manager almost. Just really just a vibe check, like just to teach you about the company, what they do, just get to know who you are, if you're a fit, the language skills. She was like first barrier. Then second barrier was second round of interviews was a case study. So you meet with them, it's a general interview, then you go into a case study about one of the companies that we've previously portfolioed. And then the next round would be the final round. You go to the office and you just meet with them, make sure, once again, like a vibe check. And then, because at that point you already pretty much have the job. But the other path, if you go straight for the analyst position, which is full-time, it was 8 rounds of interviews with multiple different stakeholders who will, take a personal stake in you on your team with, I believe it was London, London, Spain, and then I think the Netherlands. You have about 3 rounds and then a psychometric exam, and then a case study, then the final round of interviews. So I took the easy way through the internship, but I mean, you sacrifice 6 months of your life, but yeah, I will say it's a fairly intense process just to make sure they, because once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And what about the business case? Any tip? How did you work?
Yeah.
Did you ask some advice to Merced? Was she helping maybe?
The business case isn't hard. I think the main thing they want to see from the business case is that like a willingness to learn. So the business case is what you do at the job, like what I do day to day. And so it's not necessarily hard work, but it's definitely a lot of meticulous detail-oriented work and just trying to see how you think about the problem itself and to see if you're a problem solver and to see how well prepared you are. Because I've sat on case studies where people, you can tell, well, you only get a day to do it, but you can tell they did it 2 hours before. They just go and grab stuff off the internet, ChatGPT, and you can see who, took the time, studied, hit the deadline, and really just gave a good presentation. And I think that's the thing. That's what Russell Reynolds wants to see most is not necessarily your hard skills, your resume. It's, are you willing to take a new task on, get the job done, fit in with the groups, really just communicate and be proactive. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
And from the group of trainees that you were joining last September, is everybody still working there? Any advice? Not just to join the company, but then still there and get a job offer?
I will say, everyone that I started with one other intern, and actually today is her last day because she graduates and then she's gonna come back in a couple months. But everyone, all the interns, if you're an intern there and you can make it through the internship, you have the job. It's like almost guaranteed.
Amazing.
It's super nice. But as far as the analysts go, everyone is still with the company. And so it's pretty good because the training, the job's not like super hard, it's just really time consuming. But it's very rewarding work at the end of the day.
Super, thank you.
Clara, what would you tell us about your recruitment process? How was it?
For me, it was pretty straightforward, actually, which was a very welcome difference from the other recruitment processes that I had been in, where they would just 2 months of silence and then not even give you a reply. For this, I applied. Then immediately the day after, they sent me an email asking if I wanted to have a phone call with them. They immediately asked me about what my availability was, if I could sign an internship agreement with them. And then I directly went into the interview with my manager. As I mentioned, he's Dutch, so everything was really straightforward. Sorry. Everything was really straightforward, really like asking me about like, and this I wanted to mention this in the earlier question. I had like some maybe quirky things in my CV. My bachelor's thesis was of a very niche topic that he could ask me about. I also included in the languages section that I speak a little bit of Thai because I have family from Thailand. So this was a good way for me to talk a bit about myself. And as Langston mentioned earlier, the first few interviews were a bit of a vibe check, and it's a matter of, for me at least, it was a matter of being a culture fit, having like a good feeling with my manager, him feeling like I was somebody who would be able to be taught to learn the job and who would be able to work hard and was not like overly embellishing my CV and things like that. For me, it was, because it was internship level, it was very culture fit based, I would say.
Super. Bueno, pues see you in our one-on-one sessions. Good luck with everything that is going on in your lives. There is a lot of things to do. Big clapping for them.
Thank you, Clara, Langston, Kenneth, Gonzalo, for being with us. I think it has been very insightful. I hope that you've all learned much from their experience. You can stay around, mingle if you want to get to know them at the closer.
And connect through LinkedIn. Connect
Yes.
with them.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Mercè, for making this possible. Big applause for Mercè, hombre. Claro que sí. Our captain.